You're live.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming out for episode 2 of the new Marquee Show podcast. I am happy to be here as your host and the proprietor of the Marquee Show, where we're not only trying to give you education once a year in Chicago, but all year long. So if you're watching us on YouTube or anywhere else, please go to the Facebook Marquee Show community group page because that is where you can win a lot of our fabulous prizes that we're going to be giving out today. If you don't care about the prizes, just chill, but it's the best way to interact with us as well, because that's actually where we're going to be paying attention to everything going on. If you didn't get a chance to see last week's show, it was a great show. It was our first show, so we had a couple glitches, but we had Mike Walter on, Industry Pro. We had our good friend DJ Kubert, and then we had Michael Mahler from Vibo, and you can see that on YouTube, as well as on the Marquee Show Facebook page and within the group itself. So let's see, John, can you tell me, are we good to go in the group page?
It does look like it's there.
All right. So last week we had a little glitch, or Facebook didn't like John for some reason, and so we're good to go now. So please jump in there. The first thing I want you to do is click a like, say hello. That way we know, because you'll find out a little bit later how you get to win prizes. But we've got all kinds of stuff going, being given away. So that's what you want to do. So super excited to have a whole bunch of great people here. My first 20 minutes or so is my good friend Alan Berg. Second 20 minutes is going to be DJ Hapa. And then our last three are we're going to be talking tech and new lights from our friends over at Color Key, and Nick is with us from there. So let's get right into it with Alan. So this is the time of year where people are starting to wind down a little bit just before the holiday parties, but wedding wise, we're winding down. And this is where I believe you should really do some retrospective, take a good look at yourself in the mirror, marketing wise, and figure out what do you need to clean up? What do you kind of have to dot the I's, cross the T's, put a fresh coat of paint on the house, so to speak, and go from there. So let's uh let's just get right into it. What advice can you give people to I'm sorry, I was shrinking my screen. What advice can you give, or like a checklist though, for wedding vendors to prepare for 2025?
So I just want to know first, Casey, is this the all beards episode? Is
I
that what
think
this is?
so. I
Okay,
think
Hapa, do you have
so.
glasses? Because that's the only thing missing. Everybody's got beards and glasses. I'm just
Yeah.
just thinking there. So
I'm
Well,
missing
next
glasses.
week this gets bleached white. So I'll be Santa. Next week I'll still be in regular, but then after that for like 3 weeks it'll be all white, and I'll be KC Claus. So
okay, there you go. A little more
yeah.
frost in there. All
Hmm.
right. So during the year and during season, people always complain, I don't have the time. I don't have the time. I don't have the time. I don't have the time to update my website. I don't have the time to reevaluate what I'm doing. And now you have the time, so you really have no excuses. Or I should say, you can make excuses, but it's really about priorities. Engagement season is coming up. Next week is Thanksgiving here in the States. If you're up in Canada, it was last month, but it's in the States, it's Thanksgiving. And that's the beginning officially of engagement season, right? People are getting engaged all year long, but that's the beginning of it. So are you ready in every touch point? We want to be as close as possible, what's called the ZMOT, the zero moment of truth. And that's when someone realizes that they need your service. So when people are getting engaged, the first thing they realize might not be that they need entertainment. It might be, I need a venue, I need a church or a house of worship, I need an officiant, I need a dress, right? It might be that. But at some point, certainly by the beginning of the year, a lot of people are going to be realizing we need entertainment for our weddings. Now, are you where they are when they're looking for someone like you? Now, that could be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, The Knot, Wedding Wire, Zola, go down the line. It could be any of these places. One thing you want to make sure is that whatever platform you're on, you are putting your best foot forward. So now is the time to upgrade your photos, update those things. I go onto sites when I'm doing presentations and I'll see, people have a photo of a banquet room with a gobo, and it'll have a date of the wedding on it from 2017. Like, come on, guys, just update this stuff. Show the results of doing business with you wherever you're doing this. If you're selling DJ services or photo booths or lighting, you're selling a commodity. If you're selling the results that only you can provide, they can't buy that anywhere else at any price. So make sure that you're putting your best foot forward and showing photos of the results of doing business with you, which is not your equipment. It's not you behind your controller. Hey, that's me. No, right? You're not this is not club DJ stuff where you're going to be on a billboard in Vegas and people are coming to see you. This is about them. So if you want to show you across a dance floor that's packed with people getting, having a wonderful time at a wedding, and you're making this happen, right? The 4 things you want to make sure you have on every marketing piece, every page of your website, and you want to show on your social are aspirational images that show the results of doing business with you. So will people aspire to jump into that photo and say, hey, we're going to look like that on our wedding day because we're going to be that happy, right? Talk about them and the results of choosing you. Let's face it, they care more about their experience than your experience. Your experience makes their experience great, but if you talk about your experience without talking about theirs, somebody else is going to make the sale instead, okay? And then the third thing is social proof. Social proof is taking pieces of reviews, testimonials, thank you notes, texts that you've been sent, so social posts that people have made, and highlighting those to show what the results actually are. Because if you think about this, when you talk on your website, when you talk in your marketing pieces, you're talking about what you can do for someone. Reviews and testimonials talk about what you did do. That is your brand. Branding, that's colors, logos. Here, I get it in my picture here. There you go. There's my logo, right? My logo over across my shoulder. There's my books. That's branding, right? Put my 11 books behind me. That's branding. That's not my brand. My brand is if you say to Casey or if you say to Nick or Hapa or John, tell me about this guy, Alan Berg. I've never seen him. Tell me about him. Whatever you say next, that's my brand. So your reviews, your testimonials is your brand, but you don't want to put a whole paragraph up because nobody wants to read that. You want to pull out, I call them speed bumps, pull out this sentence, pull out this phrase out of a testimonial and keep putting them throughout your website, throughout your marketing pieces. Like when you have pricing on a pricing page or on a web page, have testimonials that say, best decision I ever made, worth every penny, I would have paid double, right? Things like that people have said. And then the fourth is the call to action, which is telling them what to do to get that result and making it easy to do that. So if you tell them, call me, email me, text me, use this short form. That's what I do on my website. Click here to live chat with us. Here's my WhatsApp, here, whatever it is. Make sure you're paying attention to every channel that they can reach out to you with. So if you have a place on Instagram, if you're posting on Instagram, you better be paying attention to Instagram messaging. If you're on TikTok messaging, you better make sure you're paying attention to that. Because if someone reaches out and you don't get back to them at all, forget it, you've lost the opportunity. But if you don't get back to them quickly, somebody else will. Because we know from the stats that about half of couples end up choosing the first one who gets back to them. So you need to be quick, but you also need to make it personal. I mean, if you've been to Marquee show or if you've been to Wedding MBA or any of those, or read some of my books, I talk about ghosting a lot. And I spoke at Wedding MBA this year about fake leads. And a lot of people just assume that a ghost is a fake lead. And the truth is, you don't know. You have no evidence whatsoever to know that that's a fake lead because someone filled out your contact form or messaged you through social or through an ad that you have, and they didn't respond to what you said. And the best response I've ever seen to this was it was a Facebook message somebody put up just complaining about ghosting. And you know what happens then? Everybody piles on. It's like rugby, right? The scrum happens. Everybody piles on there. And one guy about 17 things down wrote, they didn't ghost the one they booked. It's like, oh, so true. So true. I actually, at MBA, I put up a picture of a bride doing a mic drop, right? Because like, there you go. But it's true. And the reality is, if they don't like the way you're responding to them, they're going to ghost you. And somebody else does it differently, right? And I was going to say better, but I'm going to say differently because it might be better for that couple. It might not be better for the next couple. Nothing works all the time, right? But almost everything works some of the time, but nothing works all the time. And I did put up a bunch of testimonials from people that have tried things differently, and now it's working for them. So If you are doing what you did last year, the year before, the year before, and wondering why you're getting ghosted now, it's because it isn't 2020, 21, 22, or 23. It's 24 going into 25. And you're getting with Gen Y and Gen Z, and Gen Y is phone-averse, and Gen Z is even more phone-averse. And what I see, because we do a lot of secret shopping, I mean, Casey, you know this, I've spoken about this at Marquee. We've shopped over 500 companies between last year and this year alone. Get this, 17% of the companies we shopped never replied. We filled out their contact form on their website. 17%, nothing, zero. So I had my assistant reshop the 17%. You know, sometimes it's a tech issue, sometimes whatever, right? A third of them didn't reply a second time. Imagine that. Went to their website twice, filled out their contact form twice, got nothing, right? But the other thing is half of the companies, actually 52% of the companies, send one reply and then they stop. That's it. So I'm going to ask everybody listening a question. Who are you ghosting right now? Right? Hapa, you're ghosting somebody. Nick, you're ghosting somebody. I'm ghosting. Casey, we're all ghosting somebody. People we want to get back to, but you're not a priority right now. So the fact that they filled out your contact form and you responded, something else could get in the way right now. Work, family health, pet, right? All these things. So we're all ghosting someone right now. So what happens every time you send someone a message? Goes to the top of their inbox. I don't care what inbox it is. WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, just goes to the top of their inbox. Why would you not pop yourself back up to the top of their inbox again and again until they tell you yes or no? Because the biggest opportunity everybody here has, including me, is people that have reached out that have not yet said no. That's the biggest opportunity. Because think about this. What would it take for you to get a new inquiry? More advertising, more networking, more marketing, more effort. What would it take to follow up again with people that have already inquired? Just effort. That's all it is. That's all it is effort. And I can tell you, I did a workshop in Vegas, and DJ Marek came from South Dakota. And Marek has been to workshops with me before that I've done. And when he first came to my workshops, he was following up once or twice. Marek, I don't know if you're listening, but following up once or twice. This time we shopped everybody that came to the workshop 10 times. I stopped counting at 10 times that he followed up. And I asked him in front of the group, I said, okay, so do people still respond to your fifth? Yes. Sixth? Yes. Seventh? Yes. Eighth? Yes. Ninth? 10? Yes. Right? So why would you stop at 3? Or I should say 1, half the people stop at 1. Why would you stop at 1 or 2? 2/3 stop at 2, then it goes to 3, right? Keeps going down and down. When here's Marek getting response at 8, 9, and 10, because it's so much easier to just put the effort into that than to try to get a new lead. So right now, what I want you to do is think about now, between now and the end of the year, revamp your response, the way you respond to people. Make sure that it fits on one screen of a smartphone, your first response. Gosh, I see some of these responses that are 3 and 4 screens long, and I'm like, Casey, I want to grow hair to pull it out. You know that feeling, right? So if you think about it, who wants to read something more than one screen? Now, some people will. Some people will read everything you wrote. But most of us take our phone, we look at it and we go, okay, who sent it? That's the first thing. What's the subject line? We scan. What is this about? Do I want to take a look at this now? And how many times have we said, I'm going to mark that unread. I'll get back to that later. Right? Like every day. We do this every day. So how do you be the one that gets read? Well, make it short enough that they can fit it on one screen. And when you end with one question, they know that you're waiting for a response. Most people end with, I look forward to hearing from you. Can't wait to make your wedding great, or something like that ends with a period or an exclamation point. Periods and exclamation points are ending conversations. Questions continue conversations. The easiest tip is do that. So the first thing is, does your response fit on one screen of a phone? How do you know? BCC yourself for about a week on everything you send to people, and then look on your phone and go, wow, that didn't look so long on my desktop, but looks kind of long on my phone, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, when are you following up? I should say, are you following up? And then what's your plan to follow up better? Now, does that include maybe hiring a virtual assistant or hiring somebody offsite to follow up for you because you're too busy? right? I should never be too busy to follow up with someone who makes a new inquiry.
Right.
Never be too busy. I actually just created my own cadence of things. When you come to a conference, I have this survey that I put up, and you scan a QR code, give me some feedback. And then you can say, I'm interested in sales training, website review, consulting, whatever. And if you do, it triggers a 6 or 7 email string that is going to go out again and again and again, different things if you don't reply. Once you reply, it turns it off. But if you do, and I have so much feedback already just from Wedding MBA from people that have done that I'm going back and forth. But you know what? Some of them didn't reply until the 3rd email. And that was now. I have still the 4th or the 5th going.
I have a couple coming in tomorrow that I started emailing back in June, and it's November.
Right.
And just because I thought they were ready to shop in June doesn't mean that they were. But again, I use DJ Event Planner, and I have a cadence that keeps going. And after the initial, yes, we'd love to get you in, it becomes informational. This is just what I choose to do. We have a Spotify playlist. Here's father-daughter dance suggestions, mother-son suggestions. Right. Here's intro suggestions. Here's ideas about toasts. They're just all educational. It's kind of saying, hey, we're still here.
Right. And what I would do is I would mix in every once in a while, I would mix in one that's just one question.
Right.
Are you still looking for a fun DJ to make your wedding great? Are you still looking for a creative entertainment company to make your wedding memorable? One sentence, no pictures, nothing else, just that, because we are big people. We can take yeses and nos. Because here's the truth. You cannot fulfill everybody that inquires. Right. If everybody who inquired said yes, you can't do the work. Right. Sometimes it's the same date, you're already booked. And sometimes it's just, think about it. If you're closing 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, even 3 out of 5, you couldn't close them all, because if you did, you can't fulfill the work. Right. So we're supposed to get no's because of price or availability. Keep going. Sure. Yeah.
I was in mass on Sunday, and the priest was talking about the powers of yeses and no's in life. And he tells this story. There's a very mean man. He was terrible to his wife, horrible. He was a farmer, horrible to his donkey. Finally, his donkey got angry enough. He kicked the man to death. At the funeral, all of the men were lining up on the right-hand side to share their condolences with the wife, and the priest in the back of the room kept seeing, the wife just kept saying, yes, thank you, yes, thank you, yes, thank you, yes, thank you. And then all the ladies were on the left-hand side coming around, and he kept hearing them say, no, I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. Finally, the priest said, I have to ask, what was it? And she said, all the men kept coming up and saying, I'm very sorry for your loss. Are you doing okay? And she said, yes, thank you. And all of the women kept coming up and going, would you be willing to sell your donkey? And the answer was no, and I'm sorry. So it was, I really like it. It's good. It was a good
power of yes and no.
Yes, absolutely.
So what you want to do is you want to set yourself up to get better inquiries. And I hear this from people all the time. I want quality leads. I want quality leads, quality leads. If you're getting ghosted, you don't know if it's a quality lead or not because you got ghosted. And what I want everybody to do is go find a mirror and go look in the mirror. And that's where the problem is. You have to 100%. Take responsibility for that and say, if I'm not getting responses, it's because of what I'm doing. It's not them, it's me. Right?
We are all our biggest strength and our biggest weakness.
Right. But when you take responsibility for that and you say, I'm going to try something different, that's when you can get a different response. And so that's the first thing, is to say, if I'm getting ghosted too much, and listen, I wish I could say you're going to get 100% responses if you do what I tell you. I can't promise you that. I do what I teach you, and I don't get 100% responses, but I will follow up again and again, and I'll try something differently. I'll actually give you an example. Somebody found me on Google, and Casey, I'm really looking for people looking for me, not for somebody like me, for me. And that is the best thing for all of us. Like Hapa, if they're looking for you, there is no other Hapa, right? That's it. They have to hire Hapa. So if they're looking for me, It's because they want my results. Well, these people found me on Google. Hey, cool. SEO worked. There you go. And I'm surprised because I've been in the industry a long time. I've written 11 books. I was VP of sales at the Knot. I've been out on the speaking circuit for 13 years independently, right? But they found me through a Google search and we went back and forth once or twice. I did not ask for the phone call right away. They asked for the phone call. We get on a call. Talking to the boss, this was actually kind of funny because we were going back and forth. And he said, okay, so how much is this going to be? And I told him. And he said, so if I tell you yes right now, you'll do it for this, which was $2,000 less than the price I quoted. Now I'm doing sales training. So I said to him, Jimmy, I'm sure you want me to teach your people not to discount your services. And I let that sit for a second. I could hear him smiling. You know, you can hear somebody smiling on the phone. I could hear him smiling. He said, yeah, but that doesn't mean I don't want to discount. I said, I get it, but I'm sure this is what you want me to teach. This is what it costs for me to come and spend the day, right? Now, we don't discount unless we get something of value in return. Well, he had nothing of value to offer except the yes. So he said, well, then I guess we're going to have to do more research. I said, then please do more research. And, I'll follow up with you. So I followed up, email, don't hear back, email, don't hear back. And that wasn't his email. It was a marketing person, their marketing person. I do that a bunch of times. I stalked him on, I found his last name. I stalked him on LinkedIn. I guessed at his email address based upon the other person's email. It got bounced. I guessed at another one. It didn't get bounced. Okay. Didn't hear back. So right before I left for Wedding MBA, I wrote him a letter, which was basically what I had in the email saying, I've secret shopped your venue. I've secret shopped your catering company. Your venue followed up twice and stopped. Your catering company gave up after one. You're definitely leaving money on the table. I can make this work. And if I help you sell one more wedding, you've paid for me. But then I included a flashlight like this in the box. And I said, I included a flashlight here because sales training for your team is a bright idea that will pay dividends now and in the future. And I put that in a box and I mailed it to him. And I know it was received because I have the tracking. Didn't hear back, email, didn't hear back. Called yesterday, left a message, and today I got an email back. They're interested. It's a little out of their budget. So I proposed, how about we split that with another venue? We'll do the two of you. And they're like, oh yeah, we're in on that. So now I'm just trying to get the yes from the other venue. Try something different. Try something out of the box. Okay. So look at if you're getting ghosted. Try something that's different. How many times are you really following up? I don't mean you tell me you're following up. I mean really following up. And set up a system so that at the busiest time of the year, you'll be following up this way with people. Not the slowest time, the busiest time. I'm talking whatever your busiest month is, your leads are going to get followed up this many times. And then do like KC, which is follow up again. My son got engaged a year ago, November, right? So a year ago now, and was going to get married quickly in March. March became June, June became July, July became September, right? Casey, you're talking to somebody from June, right?
Yeah, and it's for June of next year,
right?
I believe. So,
and I hear this from people all the time. So Richie Stedman, who started me on my podcast, is a DJ in Utah, and one weekend he went back to months worth of leads. He heard the podcast that I did about following up. Months, not this week, last week, months worth of leads. Followed up and booked 5 weddings. And every one of those couples apologized to him for not having gotten back to him, because there's always something, right? It was school, we were buying a house, it was whatever, we got ahead of ourselves, we didn't have all the other stuff done with the venue, whatever it was. But he was following up again. He books 5 weddings. So how many weddings could you book from people that have already reached out?
Sure. So, okay. So now we've talked about once they kind of inquire, what would you say are some of the kind of the top 3 things people should be doing from now until January to maybe look at their marketing to maximize their marketing for 2025?
Right. So the first thing is just remember, if you're looking for the free and cheap way of doing everything, don't be surprised when people are looking for that from you.
Right.
Okay. You have to invest in yourself the way you want other people to invest in you. That's why I did a podcast recently about why I have one more. I'm attending 4 speaker conferences this year. 4, right? The next one, if I sign up for it, that's in March, my ticket at the early bird is $1,700, right? And I hear people in our industry complaining that it's $99 or $249 or $299 or something to go. And that's just one of my conferences. Oh, and that doesn't include airfare and hotel and everything else, right? That's just one of mine. I'm spending 5 figures, regardless of the acronyms after my name. I'm investing in my business that way. So, what are you doing to invest in your business? What are you doing for education? And remember, if you think you can learn everything on YouTube, you can learn something. But the best thing that happens at conference is often the person sitting next to you,
Sure.
not even the person on stage. So that's the first thing. Go look at your advertising and marketing. Advertising is about the audience. That's what it is. It's not about the ad. It's about the audience. Three things that matter. Geographics. If somebody says, hey, do you want to take an ad on my website, take an ad in my wedding show, whatever, right? The first thing is geographics. So Casey, you have the Windy City Wedding Show. Where do people come from? Do they come down from Wisconsin? Do they come in from, northern Indiana, right? Where do they come from?
Right.
That's geographics. Then we want to look at demographics. Who are they? Well, obviously, they're people that are engaged at a wedding show, but if it's on Facebook or Instagram or one of those other things, it's people, right? How many of those people are actually status of engaged in the age range that you want? And then what else do you know about them? Is it their age, income, sexual orientation? Is it their ethnicity? Is it a certain religious thing? Who do you specialize in or whatever? What do you know about those people? And then the third is psychographics. Why do people who otherwise geographically and demographically look the same choose you or choose somebody else? And it could be you both went to the same school. It could be that you both love dogs. It could be that you both love Taylor Swift, right? Whatever it is, but people choose you over someone else that looks the same on paper because of X. And if you can figure that X out, you will know the avatar of your ideal client. And your ideal client makes it easier for you to find them because you can't hit a target you can't see. So if you just say, I'm looking for engaged couples, that's too wide of a target.
Right.
And narrowing your niche makes you more valuable to customers, right? When I narrowed my niche to the wedding and event industry, it elevated my expertise. So of my 11 books, 8 of them are written for the wedding and event industry because that is what I focus on. So if somebody's looking for someone who can, speak about sales, there's a ton of people that speak about sales. If they can speak about sales to the wedding and event industry, there's some people that do that. But who else has written a book for the wedding and event industry for professional DJs? Not many people, right?
Right.
So therefore it elevates that. So narrowing your niche and saying, hey, I'm the DJ for, people that are, Brazilian and need someone who's, bilingual in Portuguese and whatever. Or I'm the one for non-binary weddings, or I'm the, whatever it is. Can you be the go-to for that?
Sure.
The imagery has to reflect that. So on your ads, on your social, on everything you do, the imagery has to do that. Update that. Cool. Reviews. Reviews are very important because reviews talk about what you actually have done. So are you getting recent reviews? Have you gotten recent reviews from couples? Because people care what you did 3 weeks or 3 months ago, not 3 years ago. The 4 things that matter for reviews are the number of reviews, the score, the recency, and replying. So if you have not been replying to reviews, go back and reply to the first 10 or so. Couples read on average 5 to 7 reviews for DJs, 7 to 9 for photographers and venues, but 5 to 7 for DJs. So go to the Knot, Wedding Wire, Google, Facebook, wherever you have reviews, Yelp, and start responding to those if you've not been doing it, because people that respond to reviews have the ability to put their own personality into that conversation. When a couple says, oh my gosh, Nick, it was amazing, and you get to say, thank you so much for letting me be a part of your day, and mention something specific about them. No generic responses, very specific. Now it endears you to that next person going, wow, Nick sounds really great, right? They said he was great, but Nick sounds really great too. Your voice is in there. So it allows you to do that. So that's another thing to do now, is start responding to reviews and respond to new ones. If you want to get the best of weddings on the Knot, if you want to get couples choice, it's couples choice on Wedding Wire, best of weddings on the Knot, anybody else that's got awards, it's based on reviews.
And I just got an email. I think that they're pushing, the Knot's pushing for you to do it so they can do their thing. And
right?
I think they're because in that season.
It's calendar year. It's calendar year. Now, here's the secret. When you go back to people, don't say, can you post a review?
Right.
Be very, very specific. Go back to them and first of all, thank them. Thank them for allowing you to be part of their day, because it is a privilege that you were able to be part of their day, because nobody else got that privilege. Saying
Right.
yes to you was saying no to everybody else. Think about that.
Right.
Every time you're at a gig, they've said no to everybody else. That is a privilege every single time. And then
Sure.
ask them, could you do me a favor? Help me show other couples what I can do for them. I'm trying to qualify for the best of weddings on the knot. I'm trying to qualify for couples choice on a wedding wire, whatever. And I need one more recent review this week. Could you be my review? Right? Very, very specific. You will get more people doing it because it's so specific, as opposed to, yeah, we love you. We love you, Hapa. We're going to do it. And then something else gets in the way. Right. I
Right.
mean, I've personally posted over 670 reviews on TripAdvisor.
Ooh,
If I had posted every review for every restaurant I've ever done, it would be thousands, because I travel so much that I'm eating out, 2 meals a day. So I don't post everyone, but I've still posted over 670.
sure.
So other ones that I want to do, sometimes I have to get reminded. So don't ask them once, ask them again, ask them again. One of my clients has 30 wedding venues, and the venue that
Well,
got the most responses, most reviews, the person was texting 2 days after the wedding, two
hmm,
weeks if they didn't hear back, and 2 more. Think about that. 2 days after the wedding, where are they? Right? I
on
say
their
toes in the
honeymoon.
sand. Yeah,
Yeah.
toes in the sand, margarita in the hand. Right? That's where they are, and they're getting reviews 2 days. They're getting reviews at 2 weeks. They're getting reviews at 4 weeks. So if you're asking once and stopping, ask again.
Sure.
Ask differently. Be very specific about that. I think Casey, last year at Marquee, I was talking with David Rothstein, who's got a band in Chicago, and
Hmm.
I told him that, and then he immediately went and did that. And that day he got a review from somebody,
That's
just by
great.
being specific, saying, I'm trying to qualify for best of weddings, couple's choice,
Very
whatever,
good.
something like that.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much. What'd you think, Hoppa? Good stuff?
I'm always up here taking notes on anything that Alan is saying, man. He's got the
Yeah.
gems.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we didn't get to talk bourbon, so
I yeah.
given to me by a DJ in Nebraska. This
Very
is
There
nice.
you
called
go.
it's called Sideshow from Lincoln, Nebraska, from Sean Labadie. So thank you, Sean.
Well, when you live in Nebraska, you need to drink. It's just a
At,
requirement. What else is
at,
there to do there?
and it's 118 proof. It's cask strength too. So
Okay. Wow.
All
All
right. Shoot.
right.
yeah.
So, so Hapa, I think you are the best kept secret in the business because the people who know you love you, and then there's a lot of people that they just haven't had the privilege to get to know you. But you've been speaking. You spoke at Wedding NBA this week. You've spoken at Marquee 2 or 3 years now. I think two for sure. You've
Yeah,
been at
two.
DJ Times for quite some time. And have you ever spoken in Vegas at the MEX show or the PBX show?
Nope, not at Mex or PBX yet.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Well, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners that aren't familiar with you and kind of go from there? Because I didn't know who you were until someone told me you got to go see this guy speak, and I sat in the back of the room and that was it. I asked you that day. I'm like, you need to be part of Marquee,
Yeah.
and that's been it. So
Well, I
so tell
appreciate
us.
that. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And man, that's a big compliment coming from you. You see a lot of people speak, and you've been in this industry a long time. So I started DJing in 96, originally from San Francisco. Really cut my teeth when it came to the DJ side of it when I went to school down at UCLA, and so moved from San Francisco to LA in 98. Um, and then just fell in love with not only the DJ side of it, but also the education side. And so I helped start a company called DJ City back in 99. It started in essentially a dorm room with a bunch of us. That opened up distributing records. So I was distributing records for Kevin Scott back in the day before there was direct music service. All of this was on wax. Was also distributing, different compilation records. Some of you remember the compilation records from back in the day.
Sure.
So like Lethal Weapon, Mix Factors, all the stuff that Jazzy Jim was producing out of San Francisco, and then all of Kevin Scott's stuff, and then Vice and Echo and whatnot. And so we had a record store called Rehab Records in LA. Long story short, a couple of us were partnered on it, and we were looking around one day and we're like, hey, this is great. We actually have a record store, but we said that we were going to do something for the community. And we throw events, and that's great. We throw like rap battles and stuff like that. But it would be great to have something that really helps people from the community a lot more. And then, sort of at the same time, all of us kind of had this thought of like, what if we started DJ school? And then the other thought that all of us had at the exact same moment was like, how do you start a DJ school? Like, where do you even start? So, through my process of, I appreciate Alan's, sales tips a ton, because I also fully recognize that we are all salespeople. We're all selling something. And my background initially was in sales. I was selling these records and cold calling stores. And, I often in my 44-year-old self need to tap into that a lot of times to remind myself to, not be afraid of those no's and to be reminded of that. Because at some point you reach a certain level and you kind of are used to hearing yes, which, means that maybe we're not pushing further enough. But anyways, we ended up, I remember that Jam Master Jay from Run DMC had started Scratch DJ Academy about a year and a half before that. And it was right before he was murdered. And I knew that because I was dealing with Rock and Soul and a bunch of like stores out on the East Coast. And my partners were like, call them, call them. And of course, because I was used to cold calling, I was like, fine, sure. Yeah. Picked up the phone, called them. Hey, this is Hapa from Rehab Records and DJ City out in Los Angeles. Oh, yeah, yeah. We know of you guys. You do? Talk about best kept secret. I mean, that we really did think that we were, a secret, and it was very regional at that point too. And so next thing I knew, they were like, yeah, sure, sounds interesting. Like, come out to New York, let's hash it out. Next thing I knew was flying back to LA with the license to be able to operate Scratch DJ Academy in Los Angeles, and then went on to essentially run the brand. So I was the national brand director for 15 years, essentially, for Scratch DJ Academy, opening up schools in Chicago, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Miami. And yeah, life's been interesting. Like, the twists and turns have been interesting. I left Scratch in 2019 to set off to do some other things. Went back to school, ended up becoming a professor, um, teach DJing now as a professor. Ended up launching something called the DJ Coach, and we have the DJCoach.com where we have courses, coaching, community there. And now I've got a program called Start to DJ, which is bringing DJ education into K through 12 schools. So yeah, it's been a really, really interesting journey, and man, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Sorry, I had a problem with my computer. The battery all of a sudden tripped
No,
on
it's all
me.
good.
So I should have been plugged in, but I apologize.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
So
So
Hapa,
tell me,
let me ask you something. We always have this thing. If you knew now, if you knew then what you know now,
Yeah.
right? Would you have done all of that? So go
No
back.
way.
No way.
No
Right.
way I would have done all that. Like, no, because it needed to be fed to me one step at a time. I mean, even still right now, like tomorrow, I can digest tomorrow. I can't digest 5 years from now, like of what that will be. And it is a very overwhelming feeling in a lot of ways. I've been very privileged to be in a position where I feel like I've got a machete in hand and I'm like chopping through the rainforest. DJ education at that time was unheard of. I mean, literally, I thought, my initial thoughts were, this, number one, this isn't going to work. Number two, like, what are we going to do? Just set up a whole bunch of turntables and then have people come in and practice and try to charge them something? Like, maybe it's like a gym model and we charge a fee for that, and hopefully people sort of get something out of it. But the process of writing curriculum, building a certification program, like all of those things, writing a book. I wrote a textbook. I've actually got it here. It's a little bit beat up, but like, writing the textbook, like all these things, I had no idea that like those were down the road. And it's actually, to me, that's been one of the best parts of it, right? Is to
Yeah.
have it reveal itself like piece by piece.
Yeah. I think that's that's really life. Is you can't plan going forward, but I think what everybody listening needs to look at is if you take a look back and see what you've accomplished, right? It's okay to give yourself a little pat on the back and say, you know, I've accomplished a lot, because a lot of people, if you're feeling a little bit stuck or feeling a little bit down, it's okay to say, gee, I suck right now or whatever. But when you look back and go, wow, I've, I've done a lot.
Yeah.
I've done a lot. But you also have to have that mindset of the new business, right? You have to not be afraid to fail. And I did a presentation. I know you didn't get a chance to see it, called Not Another Competitor, right? People always complain about another new competitor. And I say, yeah, but you were the new competitor. Like every one of us was the new competitor at one time. So you can't complain that somebody else has given it a shot. As a matter of fact, hope that they do well, because first of all, it's better to compete with people doing it well.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Secondly, they're going to make you better, because would you innovate as much if you didn't have competition? Right.
100%. Like there's that whole Larry Bird and Magic Johnson like documentary that I think gets to that pretty well on that side, you know?
Right.
And how many stories? Yeah. How many stories do you hear about Michael Jordan still playing his guts out until somebody talked shit to him? And then it was like any NBA player who's ever talked shit to Jordan has said it was like the biggest mistake ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. How do you take somebody who's playing at 100% who now goes to 120 in your face because you just said that?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's in there. But would he have gone there, right, if they didn't do that, right? It takes that. And I like to look at this and say, what's the worst that could happen? If I make this decision, what's the worst that could happen? The worst thing to me is not making the decision. That's the worst thing. You say, I'm not going for it, own it. Right. If I probably a bad example, but if somebody said, hey, this stock is going to be really good, I look at, I say, nah, I'm not going to do it. Then the stock takes off. Right. Okay. Sure. I own that. I can own that too. Right. But make the decision that I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. Don't let somebody else make the decision for you. When my son was at a job and he was doing really well, but he hit a ceiling, and they loved him. He was getting paid well and all that stuff, but he just felt like there was nowhere to go. So he looked at getting to another company. It was a startup, and it was, you know, not a lot of security and all that kind of stuff. Good potential upside if they go public or whatever. And I said, so let's talk about this. What's the worst that could happen? You got a roof over your head? Yeah. You got food on the table? Yep. You got money in the bank? Yep. Okay, so what's the worst that could happen? Those are all the worst things that could happen, and none of those are going to happen. So what's the worst? So he went to this other company, didn't like it. He got the next title, right? That's the one he wanted. That brought him to the company he's at, where he's already been moved up and he loves it. But had he not left the company 2 companies ago and taken that chance, right? Yeah. I'm in this industry. I was talking to somebody today and telling him, I'm in my industry because I was in a job getting paid well, company car benefits and all that stuff, hating every moment of my life. And I took a job in a new industry, knew nothing about. Cold calling, never done it, right? No benefits, commission only. My wife was pregnant, and I said yes, right? And it's so long that the baby that my wife was pregnant with, his son turned 8 yesterday. Okay, that's how long I'm doing this, right? Because I took the leap, and you know what it was, Hapa? I said to myself, I actually said to my wife, I'm going for this because this is not a life for us. I actually said it's not the money. I was in my 20s. I said it's not the money. It's like, and it blew my mind because I meant it, right? I said, but I know I can sell. I am confident in my ability to sell. So I'll learn the product. I'll learn cold calling. I'll learn all that. And and that's 34 years ago.
Yeah, you got to bet on yourself, you know? You definitely have to bet on yourself.
So, Hapa, tell everyone what you're up to now. What's your biggest project that you're working on now? Because I think it's amazing.
I think there's 2 pretty big projects right now, and they're both like really wrapped into one another to some degree. Like on one level, on one hand, it's our K through 12 program called Start to DJ. So we really feel like DJ needs to be introduced to schools. Like there's there's all sorts of statistics that are out there around, some people say 80, some people say closer to 90% of kids that are school aged do not have music in their actual day in schools. And that's crazy because you see these kids walking around and you like with headphones on, and music is such a part of their identity. It's a part of who they are, what they gravitate towards, what their passion is. And so we're really trying to bring DJ education to schools right now. And we've got a great program called Start to DJ, which is a facilitated learning model. So we certify a campus coach to be on the ground. That could be a math teacher, a principal. We have some schools where the principal of the school is the campus coach, helping their fifth graders after school with our DJ program, which is awesome. And I think that just helps everybody in our industry. You know, it really just widens the overall funnel of people who are exposed to DJing. So that's a big one, man. That takes up a lot of my bandwidth, and we've written a bunch of, you know, we have student workbooks for that. It's been really great. The other one that's sort of somewhat connected to this is I've got a project that's a VR project. It's actually a mixed reality project called the app is called Tribe XR. It's available on the Meta Quest store, and essentially you have access to CDJ 3000s in virtual reality, and it's incredible. As somebody who comes from hardware, it's the next best thing. And it's pretty amazing what we can do with the technology. So I've got a bunch of education that's in there, lesson content, and work with our team on trying to make that the best product possible. But I appreciate the comment, Alan, about the competition, because we recently had that happen in our space for that VR project. Got some friends who are over at Algorithm DJ, which I work very closely with those guys, and they've got a great iOS app and a great mobile app, and they've now entered the VR space and have created a really awesome product in that space. And I think it's really lit a fire under our team's butt on the Tribe XR side. And so, yeah, I definitely welcome that. And same on the education side. I mean, I know I'm not the only game in town when it comes to education. And I love that. You know, I love that I have a great relationship with the guys over at Crossfader and Phil Morse over at Digital DJ Tips. And there's so many people and so many great educators now online. And I think that that's necessary because I'm not the guy for everybody, you know.
Right.
And our coaching style is different. And for those that really thrive in that, like, awesome. You know, like, I'm glad that they're a part of our community. And for those that don't, like, I hope that they do find somebody that they can resonate with, because the worst thing is that somebody gives up on a dream that they had and they stop DJing. Like, that's the worst situation. So,
Yeah.
you know, and I've referred people to our competition, you know, when we haven't been able to be the right fit for them. And it took me a while to get there because my my immature, like, it took real maturity and a real, like, you know, coming into my own and a real sense of security when it came to that, because, you know, I think in this industry we're sort of taught, you know, this scarcity model. You know, there's one DJ that wins the gig, and there's one DJ that's on that stage. And, you know, if you're not first, you're last. You know,
Right.
that
Well,
whole
but
thing. It's like, you
but
know,
but
it's, I think it's,
but there's a lot of other stages. That's the
yeah,
thing. So the
yeah,
guy that founded the National Speakers Association, Cabot Robert, he said, we're not trying to get a bigger piece of the pie. We're trying to create a bigger pie so
that's
there's a piece
right.
for everybody.
Sure.
That's right.
And when you look at it and say, I do this in my when I'm doing sales training or when I'm talking to a client, I say, you know what? Let me find out what you need, and I'll tell you if I'm the right fit. And
Right.
if I'm not, let me find you somebody who is, because
Right.
Right.
sometimes we're not the right fit.
Right. And
And
what a waste of time if you're not, for everybody, right? Like,
right,
why try and force that? Like, if you're not the right fit, you're not the right fit.
right.
Yeah.
I heard somebody. I was at an event one time. I think it was in Mexico, and I heard somebody say, "If you don't want the gig, just charge them a high price." I said, "Oh, no, 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 no. If you
Yeah.
don't want the gig, you don't want the gig. The high
Right.
price doesn't make up for it because then you got paid, and now you're doing something you didn't want to do, and now you feel dirty." And I've done that. I think we've all done that. Certainly new in our businesses, right? We had to learn the hard way. We've taken that.
Sure.
We've said yes. We should have said no. And sometimes no is the right answer for them
Yep.
as well. As I was on a podcast. Somebody said, "Why do you do what you do?" I said, "It's easy. At this point in my life, it has to do two things. It has to bring you value and bring me joy. If it doesn't bring you value and bring me joy, I don't want the check. And if it brings both of those, I will cash the check. right? But if it brings you value and doesn't bring me joy, it's disingenuous because I cannot be giving you my full self if it's not bringing me joy. And if it brings me joy and doesn't bring you value, I've cheated you. So it has
Right.
to do both of those things. Otherwise, the answer is no.
Right.
Yeah. I just wrote that down, by the way. Thank you for
Very
that.
good.
Quote you on that. Yeah.
All right. So we've talked a bunch of education, all kinds of new stuff coming down the pike. And let's talk about some gear. Nick has been here patiently,
Howdy, y'all.
patiently
Hey,
talking. For those of you that don't know, this is Nick with Color Key, part of the Mixwear family of brands. And they've been kind enough to sponsor our little podcast, at least through the end of this year. And that means for
Absolutely.
everybody watching, listening, what have you, at the end of this, we're going to creatively call out some people, and some people are going to get to win some good stuff. So, Nick, tell us what's new and exciting at Color Key.
Howdy, y'all. Excited to be here, Casey. Thanks for having me. And we are excited to be talking about our newest product here, Mobile Power Hex 5. So Mobile Power Hex 5 is a battery-powered, wireless-enabled power light. May look a little familiar. This is you're only going to see it from Color Key. It's exclusive to us. We have a nice RF remote. So this is a battery-powered unit. You can kind of see here. Wireless enabled, so you're running it with Donner if you're going to be doing some wireless stuff. We have the nice RF remote. So great thing about RF remote is that you don't need like line of sight to do that. We've got some nice reviews out already, and they kind of show that stuff. So about 50 feet plus with this remote. Real nice. Features a color wheel, so you can like tap on there, just drag around on the finger. You get nice color, instant access to sound active programs, instant access to like jumps, fades. What's cool is these little like primary colors. You can keep tapping them, and then you're gonna cycle through like different colors of red. So you can get like a palette, and then that works for each of the primary colors. So just a lot of fun options. Works, yeah, I said, with the RF remote, works with an app. So if you have iOS, you can connect with an app. You can just master slave them together. The back of the unit is nice and easy to understand. So you just kind of really, I don't know if it's inverted or not, but it might be. But yeah, so it's cool to kind
Is
of
it
jump through there.
DMXable as well, or no?
What's that?
Is it DMXable?
Absolutely
Okay.
DMXable. So
Okay.
the DMX that you would connect with is Donner DMX. It's like
Okay.
that multi-band, red, green, blue. They have the little colors, and you just
Right.
link up the colors and easy to sync together. So we have them all running here on the DMX. You can just kind of see flipping around. Another cool thing, they come with a magnet, so you can mount the magnet on here and then like pop it up on the ceiling, which is cool. The bracket is a split yoke bracket. So it's actually kind of tight there. So you got like some cool mounting options. You can do some really nice stuff a la up here on the booth.
So how much do they weigh?
They're about a little less than 3 pounds a unit. So I think
So
like
with the magnet, if you went into a if you went into a drop ceiling, it'll hang, and you could actually, it would be it's not a focusable cam, but it would do a good job pin spotting centerpieces.
Yeah, it's not a focusable can, but in terms of like projecting a nice coverage area, they have about a 25-degree beam angle, so real nice spread, about four of them on a wall, 20 feet. We were doing a wedding MBA, so we actually lit up the drapage booth right across from us. It was a 10 by 20, and we had a four-pack out there, so I'll pivot right into there. We sell them in a four-pack, an eight-pack, or single. The eight-pack is a charging case. The four-pack is this little, carry bag. It's got slots in there. The power adapters are external, so and they have the little LED on there. You can see the battery life as it's charging, as well as on the back of the unit themselves. They have some really nice battery life indicators. So just A little more advancement of the 7 segment displays that we're kind of used to from the old ones, like SNAL, like all that weird kind of like
Yeah.
red LED. This is a little bit easier to use. So the customer for this is really anybody who's interested in being a lighting professional. You could walk off the street, wanting to set up your kids' party, and the RF remote is going to be enough for you to do what you need to do. If you're a technical DJ, you can independently DMX address one of them, and then you can do complex shows with chases and all that stuff. So, you have a real broad range. The price point is nice. The single starts at 159.99. So you're gonna get the unit, you're gonna get an RF remote, you get a magnet, and then the 4-piece, 4 units. We include 4 remotes, 4 magnets, and the case. And then the 8-piece is a charging trolley. Let me show you guys. We can jump onto the web page.
The RF controller, how many lights can you control at the same time?
So with the controller, it's kind of limitless. You can kind of just keep buying lights and adding them in there, and they're all working on the same band. So similar to
Okay.
DMX, as long as you're not maxing out like a universe, you could address everything as one and have 1,000 lights in the room, and they're all gonna
Wow.
share the signal around. So am I sharing here? I can't remember. Let's go check it out.
Yeah, you are. Yep.
Okay.
We've got the Dazzler effects up right
We
now.
are Color Key LED, our website, Color Key LED. There we go, 8-pack. I just wanted to show you this 8-pack because it's got a really nice rolling charging case, and there's it shown up on the ceiling, so that's kind
Yeah.
of the mounting option. Here's the charging case right there.
That
So
is
really
nice.
nice case. It's got a trolley handle. You can kind of see right here for some nice options. Real sleek. Got the hexagonal black, and 8 units fit in that, and it charges up. And then that case retails for 15.99. So some good price points. 159.99 for the single, 649.99 for the 4-pack, and then 15.99 for the 8-pack. And those are available now. They're out in your most popular retailers. So I encourage everyone to go check it out. And let's see here. So just some other notes on these guys. You can take off this like bracket and do some really nice uplighting. So let's see here. Let's go to the single page. Sorry about that. I'm
You're
new to
good.
Zoom. I'm not a Zoomer.
No worries.
Yeah, so auto program, sound active, jump. There's 4 different sound active programs, and you can access those right from the remote. So that's nice. Some of the sound active programs have like let's actually try to enable it. And I'll kind of show you. There we go. So
Can they chase like dominoes?
what's that?
Can they chase like dominoes
Can they
around a room?
like dominoes? You would have to DMX that, yeah, to get them
Okay.
to do like that
Got it.
chasing. Otherwise, they're just going to do that standard like color jump. You have some speed adjusts on the color jump. You can cycle into like a fade, and you have some speed adjusts on the fade right there. Sound active mode is going to either put them into like a static like sound active mode or a pulsing sound active mode. So you can kind of get some like high level like party vibes going on, or just like I know a lot of DJs are very, I've been talking to them, they love the sound active mode. So you have 4 of them, 2 of them with like full colors that kind of transition, and then other ones that kind of give you like this strobing color transition, which is like more of like a high energy kind of environment. So
Gotcha.
that's pretty cool.
That's
Um,
very cool.
Definitely. Yeah, but everyone's kind of talking about the niche and the value, and that's really like the brand ID of Color Key. It's just being able to have a product.
Episode is
Oops, sorry. I'm
No worries.
trying to check something.
Everyone's kind of talking about the niche and the value, and that's really like
Okay, sorry about that.
that's cool. Yeah, so Color Key, we're a smaller brand. We are a part of Mixware, but we're the manufacturer of these products. So we're, developing them, taking our history as DJs and mobile professionals and kind of just putting that into the light, trying to give the end users something that's going to set themselves apart, maybe from the competition, similar price points, but obviously a lot more features, value. And then my team and I, we're located here in the States. We have 2-year warranties on all of our gear. We have service in Tennessee. And most of the time, if you reach out to us, you're going to either talk to myself or some of the other engineers or technical specialists on the team. So we're really hands-on with the gear. I think I'm still sharing here. We can kind of go to our products if you're not familiar with us. Color Key's been around since 2008 and kind of really been developing products since about 2019. Some of our most popular items, the Cold Spark Dazzler, those are really great. We sell them in black and white single versions. We have like a nice two-piece bundle, so those already come in the case. We've looked at the mobile parts. We got really kind of going with Color Key in the effects world. We came out with some cool units called Kraken, and those have been really popular for DJs as like a centerpiece fixture. This guy we're looking at right here is called the Scorpius. It's like our newest light. This moving head right here, it has an infinite rotation. So really, like those beams are just constantly whipping around. Each one of those beams is 40 watts. So like super vivid, super bright, super intense, and that just adds. I know this is a mobile DJ-esque type of
No.
crowd, but still in terms of effects, if you're looking for something a little zazzy, that's fun. In the for the mobile crowd, we're getting into offering some nice, cool moving head options. So I'll just call out some unique things about Color Key, like for example, movers. We sell a bundle with 2 movers in a rolling road trolley. So both of those movers, 90 watts. They have, let's see, uh, there we go. 2 gobo wheels. One is metal and static, and the other's glass and rotating. So you can kind of do some like cool layering stuff. That's like what's going on here in this hero picture. Here
Hmm.
you can kind of see you have the blue, but then you have that like magenta that's like real textured, and that's you're getting by having a metal gobo with the glass gobo shining through it that's like getting cut out by the metal. So you get the texture of the glass, the definition of the metal. You add the color wheel on there, and now you got looks that are like exclusively yours because it's really hard to kind of replicate this stuff with some of the other products that are out on the market. So this is just some of the value that we like to have at Color Key. The gobos that we selected, they're fun. They are, ready for most DJs, stars, hearts. So you guys can do weddings, you can do 4th of July, New Year's celebrations. So, my team and I, we have been experienced in as DJs, and so we kind of just put that back into. Let's go to the gobos here. Sorry, some of the features. There we go. Yeah, so here's some of our nice glass gobos. So those glass gobos, they rotate. They're really cool. And then one of the best things about Mover Spot 150 is the price. 599 for a moving head with 90 watts and all of those features. So super cool. Motorized focus as well. Lots of value in there. So I encourage you guys to check it out. We sell that in the single, and we sell that in the two-piece case. Um, Additionally, for movers, we have like some smaller beams. So you'll notice just our price points, they're attainable. There's nothing there that's going to like break the bank. My hope is that the users can buy 2 Color Key lights, have a little bit more in their arsenal, and then, and not break the bank. So we're really trying to give you the value and the confidence in product. Go out there and use it. You got 2 years for all of our LED products. But I want to highlight this guy because I think it's a sleeper. A lot of DJs have been really into wash. And
Hmm.
so this is a moving head wash. It's a 144 watts, 12 by 12 hex. So that does red, green, blue, amber, white, and UV. These little guys are super cool. It's just like a little mini mover, but you can like pop that up on top of like some totems next to you. And now you're not like necessarily shining gobos or anything specific, but you have like energy and movement and color splashing all around the room.
And how
Um,
much do these weigh?
and these guys, let's see, 6.5 pounds, Casey.
Wow, that's really small. You could
Yeah, and
hang
then we
this
have a
on a
Send them to me.
tripod,
I need
yeah.
two of them.
yeah, and we have a bag, a little mover bag, so you can pop two of them in a little mover bag, and you're good to go. The bag's 49.99. These guys are 229, so great price for a little mover.
Yeah.
And then you're going to want to put them on the stand. So let's just go talk about our stands. I know you guys have seen these all around, height adjustable lighting totems. What makes Color Key different is that my entire system breaks down and fits in one bag. There are some other units out there on the market, but my base plate, it folds in half. So let's go
Hmm.
take a look at that. You can kind of check it out. Oh, there you go. Click. Bam. Yeah, so it's hinged. It just collapses, folds, goes right in the bag. And I think those that do know and don't have a single bag system probably getting a little tired of running with two. I know I did. I was a user of this type of product for a long time before it was in my assortment. And so when we decided to make it, that was like, yeah, we got to make this a single bag solution. It's got to fit in my Scion when I was a mobile guy, Scion XB crowd
Wow.
here, so yeah, we're super conscious and we've lived the life at points in time. So that's always going back into the product in just small ways that hopefully set us apart and define our brand and make you guys want to choose Color Key or invest in us or get to know us a little bit better.
Yeah, by all means. No, it's super cool. And you'll be at LDI a couple weeks, correct?
I will be there at the show. We're going to be at NAM. We're getting ready for
Okay,
NAM. We have a huge booth
that's
ready to
great.
go. It's going to be great. So excited for that in January. We just got done with Wedding MBA. That was a great show, highly engaging. Um, the venues are getting into lighting DJs. I'll just give you that FYI. They have a
Yeah,
lot of questions, and so I think everybody's getting educated. The
sure.
technology coming to them. It's becoming very easy to use and understand. So just
And
a
you'll
little.
be, I saw the floor plan. We're right across the booth. Our booth at MEX is right across the booth from you. We're right across the aisle. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to see it, feel it, touch it, even if it's not at their local retailer.
Yeah,
Um, and
definitely.
then and then you guys would be, it's either you or is it Connor? It's gonna be next week with us as well.
I'm not sure who's going to be on next week exactly.
Gotcha. It's gonna be somebody from Color Key and
Oh, it might be Cedar.
Cedar, not Connor, Cedar. I apologize.
Got it. No worries.
Yeah. So yeah. So we'll be talking lighting all the way through the end of the year with you guys. So all kinds of new and exciting things every single week. So if you thought this was pretty informative and he's got you a little bit excited about it, keep tuning in every single week because they'll be talking more about their various products and cool things. And we're excited to have you. So um, we're running just a hair long, which is okay because John doesn't need to sleep anyway. I think we're going to kind of break the rules because last week we had a technical problem and everybody watched us on the Facebook page. And the goal was to get you guys into the group page, but I think we've got more people. John, are you here, John?
Yep.
All
Yes.
right. So what do you say? Should we go to the Marquee page? Because that seemed to have more people following, probably because that's what we did last week.
Let's take a look and see where people are and if we can send them to the page, the right spot. That's what we're after.
Yeah, no, that's the goal. But even if it's just for today, we can send them. we can just work with the video there, because it seems like, yeah, we had 21 comments and then we had 14 likes. So let's go ahead and let's just we'll work off of the people that have liked the videos on the or liked the video on the Marquee page. And if you guys are not a part of the Marquee Show community group, I'm going to ask you to join that, because this will be the last week that we do this. But I want to go ahead and reward the people that have been kind enough to be listening. So we'll start with Alan. Alan, pick a number 1 through 12.
8.
8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me try this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Matthew Campbell. Congratulations, Matthew Campbell. You are, oh, and he's a fellow media person. He's going to actually be on the show in January.
There you go.
So Matthew, you have won a year of, and this is great. He's going to have a year, not subscription, but membership to the American DJ Association, thanks to Dr. Drax. So congratulations to that. And let's go ahead and Hapa, pick a number 1 through 12.
Let's go number 1.
Number 1, Luca Miller. Congratulations, Luca. You won a pass for an education pass for the Marquee Show happening in Chicago in June.
I think Luca is in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. And
I think so.
Luca is involved with the Canadian DJ Association.
It's terrific. Yeah, no, I know Gerald more so than I know Luca, but Luca, I think, came to our very first show.
Well, there's the CPDJA and the CDJA, and I think Luca is the CDJA and Gerald is the CPDJA.
Is that like the Democrats and the Republicans for the disc jockey world up there or something?
Well, there's an exchange rate because it's Canada. So
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. And this one is going to be, for our next item is this was last week, not the GECO. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Give me 1 second to pull up what it is. We're going to do we'll do the lights. Sorry, I should have had this up here. This is totally my mistake, and I apologize to everybody. But Nick, get ready to pick, because we are going to be giving away a headliner gig stand. This is going to be our next gift. And Headliner is another one of the brands distributed proudly through Mixware.
Yes, so we are also the manufacturer. So we are also putting that same history and effort into the Headliner gear.
That's great. So let's pick 1 through 12.
Let's go with 7.
7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stefan Langdon. Stefan Langdon. I don't know Stefan, but I'm excited for you, Stefan. And thanks for tuning in tonight. So, so you are the winner of that. And then our biggest prize of the night is our Color Key Mobile Par Hex 5 4-pack. All right. And so there it is. Go ahead and pick a 1 through 12. What's it going to be?
12.
Number 12 is Kevin, Blexican Arenas. Kevin, congratulations. You are our big winner of this. So that's a great part. I know there's a million podcasts and everyone's busy, but one of the beautiful parts about tuning into our show is not only the fabulous guests and the education you get, but you can also win prizes, just like on the Family Feud or what have you. So that's where we're at. So next week, we're going to ask you to tune in again, because next week we have Dave Hanscom, who spoke at our show, turning contacts into contracts. He shares his experience with that. And then we have DJ Flipside of the Jump Smokers coming in, one of Chicago's very own, and a very close personal friend of mine and my nephew's favorite DJ, which is an ego crush because I thought I was, but it's okay. Flipside's earned it. He's a great guy. And then again, we're going to either have Cedar or Nick back from Color Key talking about even more exciting products and ways to make your show even more exciting. So thank you again to our host of our show there, Mr. John Young from the Disc Jockey News Network. Make sure you tune into his other programs that happen on Monday, Tuesdays, and throughout. And if you're not following him, follow him at DJNTV and Disc Jockey News. So, guys, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you on as always.
Thank
And
you.
that's it. We'll see you guys all very soon. All right.
Have a
Thank you,
good one.
everyone. Good night.
Bye.
All right.